So with Tenet being out in theatres for a few weeks now and having seen the film 4 times, I currently have a good idea of where I would rank it amongst Christopher Nolan's filmography. It is a film that for many, including myself, could take months and even years to assign with a particular rating and ranking when considering classics like Inception, The Dark Knight and many more great Nolan films. For me, Nolan currently hasn't made a bad film in his career, so regardless of where I place it right now, I still consider the film a very good piece of cinema. But in this video, I'm going to be giving you my opinion on how I would personally rank the movies of Christopher Nolan at this current point in time. If you want to see much more on Christopher Nolan, his latest films, other video essays and news uploads on particular movies and TV shows, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to give it a like rating. Without further ado, let's dive into my ranking for all of Christopher Nolan's movies. At number 11, I'm placing the director's first film, Following. Christopher Nolan's black and white debut is both his shortest movie at 69 minutes long and a blueprint-defining entry with the introduction of tropes that would go on to become hallmarks in his later and bigger films. Starring Jeremy Theobald, who also makes an interesting cameo in Tenet, we follow a young unemployed writer who finds himself partnering up with a slick thief who recognisably goes by the name of Cobb. The film applies a fractured non-linear narrative, a Nolan-esque twist, and an intense score by the director's first composer, David Julian, along with a classic Batman Easter egg and a throwback to film noirs of the 1940s and 50s. Following was an early sign that the inspired filmmaker was destined for great things. At the next spot is Insomnia. Nolan's trademarks are present and accounted for in each of his movies, but Insomnia is where they're at their most unrecognisable. This may be because it's both a remake of the Norwegian film of the same name and the only film Nolan didn't write himself. Still, the project does feature great performances from Al Pacino as an LAPD detective haunted by guilt in pursuit of a creepy killer, and Robin Williams excelling in this dramatic role. The more fatigued the protagonist gets, the more Nolan's themes begin to emerge. Insomnia is not to be slept on, and regardless of it coming in at number 10, it's still a fantastic entry that showcases the range of Christopher Nolan as a director. Coming in at number 9 is The Dark Knight Rises. For me, this is the film that is most underrated in Nolan's filmography, one that had all the weight placed on it by the previous film, and one which was unfairly compared to it. The Dark Knight Rises showed that Nolan could once again intertwine different genres into an already genre-defining superhero trilogy. The director infused his final film with a greater sense of war and even emotion to heighten the scale and pressure placed on the trilogy's protagonist, Bruce Wayne. With rememberable performances by Christian Bale as Batman, Michael Caine as Alfred, Tom Hardy as Bane and Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, the film captured Gotham and the people within the city at their most vulnerable, all while showing the militarized dominance that Bane has right up until The Dark Knight finally rises. Next, I'm putting the first film in Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, Batman Begins. After 1997's Batman and Robin, Gotham's infamous hero was in dire need of a big screen redesign. Thankfully, Christopher Nolan is just what was needed. This gritty and grounded neo-noir origin tale is exciting, thematically satisfying, and hugely successful. Not only can its influence be seen in many comic book movies that came afterwards, but the perfect ending is perhaps the greatest in a superhero movie. It all amounts to the best live-action movie that is purely based on Batman, setting the path for different genres and stories to be told with the character, as Christopher Nolan went on to do. In at number 7 is Christopher Nolan's latest film, Tenet. Having seen the film multiple times, Tenet has got better and better on every rewatch. In my original review, I gave the film an 8.5, but now it has gradually gone up to an 8.75. For me, Tenet is a colossal piece of filmmaking that truly showcases Nolan's love for cinema through expressing his long-term affection for the spy genre and the blockbusters he grew up watching. It encapsulates the originality and theatricality of his blockbuster form, alongside displaying many people's questions towards time as a whole. It's the ultimate experiential film that captures the heart of movie watching, and through its narrative and practicality, it's a film that transcends the laws of time. With great performances across the board from John David Washington, Elizabeth Debicki, and Robert Pattinson, we get a puzzle box which is going to be debated amongst moviegoers for years to come. And not to mention the pulsating score from Ludwig Göransson, which only heightens the scenes and action that unfolds throughout the film, forwards and backwards. At the next spot is Nolan's first studio film, Memento. It's been over 20 years since Memento first debuted in cinemas, and there hasn't been anything quite like it ever since. It was only Nolan's second feature, and the story included an insurance investigator named Leonard who is attempting to find his wife's killer while also battling short-term memory loss. It revealed a filmmaker who was already wholly confident in his abilities and an idea of how he would use them down the line. You come for the performances by the superb ensemble cast, but you stay and re-watch the film for its ingenious puzzle that takes place over segments which are sequenced in a backwards structure. The imagery and idea of Memento was one of the inspirations behind time inversion in Tenet, and when watching the film, you can see how influential it has been on many projects ever since. Rounding out the top 5 is The Prestige. The Prestige depicts a mental and physical battle between Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale's magicians in a game that becomes more and more personal. It's a film that you want to watch again and again, not because you need to in order to understand what's going on, but because of the clever, hard-to-spot details that you may have missed on first watch. It's one of the best performances of Hugh Jackman's career, it's one of the most emotionally satisfying movies in Nolan's filmography to date, and it features the brilliant David Bowie as Nikola Tesla. Here we see a relatable portrayal of identity, rivalry, and obsession play out in true Nolan fashion, as the director executes one of the biggest magic tricks on the audience. At number 4, I'm putting the Oscar-winning thriller Dunkirk. In his 2017 film, we get Nolan expertly displaying his tools as a filmmaker, realising a monumental moment in history with his key traits of time, tension, and the human spirit, alongside a ticking score from Hans Zimmer. With its three-way timeline structure of land, sea, and air, we get an augmented experience of survival, capturing the in-the-moment tension faced by young men with no backstories. The film is a visual and technical masterpiece that stresses on the desperation of the soldiers at Dunkirk with an emotional motif on war. Dunkirk is a survival thriller that will be remembered amongst the greats and talked about for years to come. Coming to the top 3, I'm placing Interstellar. One of Nolan's most visually stunning films, thanks to the cinematography by Hoyt van Hoytema, is also one of his most divisive. Over the years, Interstellar has quickly gone up my ranked list through its ambitious story of love, loss, space and time, alongside a quite brilliant character reveal from a malevolent Matt Damon as Dr. Mann. The physics appear mind-bending, the visual effects are outstanding, and Nolan achieves something beautiful, with colliding abstract concepts and purpose with theoretical physics. There's not many big-screen blockbuster experiences as far-reaching as Interstellar, and it showcases Nolan's brilliant combination of mainstream and independent techniques, which feel extremely fitting given the idea of the plot. With a stirring association and evolution between Cooper and Murph across space and time, Interstellar proves the doubters that Nolan makes his stories with just as much emotion as he does through technical prowess. The runner-up, with an identical score to the top film on my ranked list, is The Dark Knight. For me, this is the best live-action movie that Batman has appeared in. It's an important distinction to make, as where Batman Begins is focused on Bruce Wayne and his transformation into the Caped Crusader, The Dark Knight is dominated by the Joker's terror. As Heath Ledger's terrifying and sometimes humorous Oscar-winning performance has rightfully gone down in history as the greatest the genre has ever seen, it's not just this which makes The Dark Knight a classic. The story is thrilling, the action set pieces are iconic, and the practical elevating by Nolan takes this to new heights. With Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard's powerful score, the film encapsulates a neo-noir at the peak of terrorism, giving the audience the ultimate real-world approach to a Batman story. In the end, movies don't come much better than The Dark Knight. And taking the top spot is the film that made me fall in love with cinema. This goes to Inception. Now, The Dark Knight and Inception have always flipped between my top two spots, but Inception seems to hold that spot the most. Nolan's 2010 heist thriller, set within the architecture of the mind, is original, cerebral, and blockbuster filmmaking at its very best. Nolan gradually eases you into the concepts of Inception's familiar and unfamiliar world so that you understand just enough about the mechanics of dream thievery before things get out of control. The visuals and action set pieces elevate this through their jaw-dropping conception and execution. The movie also popularised Hans Zimmer's dramatic music and introduced us to the composer's finest work in time. But what makes Inception so special is its story through the emotional connections surrounding Cobb and its motifs for movie making in general. The dream is the movie, and when rewatching Nolan's film, you only discover more and more that you never saw before. I think Tenet will have a similar reaction over the years, but right now, my top spot goes to Inception. But that was my updated ranked list for all of Christopher Nolan's films, including Tenet. Again, I think that Tenet is a film that may go up my list in the coming years, but right now I would put it alongside many of his other movies in the middle of his filmography. This was just my perspective on it, and I'm sure that across the board there will be many varying opinions. But I'm interested to hear where you would rank Tenet alongside his other movies, so let me know down below in the comment section. For more videos on movies and TV shows like Tenet, Dune and Dark over the next few weeks, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating. I will be doing my Season 2 breakdown of Dark very soon, alongside many more video essays and news videos in the coming weeks, so make sure to keep a lookout for whenever I post these uploads. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.